Thank you for staying with us. Now, during the week, Gabon military seized power in the early morning of Wednesday, announcing that they had cancelled the elections, dissolved all state institutions, and closed the country's borders. In response, President Bola Tinubu said a comprehensive consensus against the spread of contagious autocracy across Africa is the next step forward with respect to how the power in Gabon will play out. A Nigerian leader noted that he is committed to working with other heads of state to defend democracy on the continent. Of course, still with me is Justice Ojeno and Olumbe Akinkugbe in the studio with me. Now, Justice Ojeno, very quickly, Equatorial Guinea President Nguema Mbasogo has been there for 43 years. Of course, the Republic of Congo President Sassou Nguesso, 38 years. We have Paul Biya of Cameroon, 40 years. What is that? Why is it that we are not addressing the civilian dictatorship? And we are always, always about the sanctions, about the coup. What about the civilian dictatorship that comes with these people wanting to hold on to power?
It's very unfortunate, and that's where we need actually the leadership of the AU, ECOWAS, or the corresponding bodies that are the bodies of the heads of governments in Central Africa, Southern Africa, and every other organization to actually not be mediocre in this. We should speak truth to power. We should try to talk to these people that they are the ones actually sometimes inspiring some of the backlash, some of the reactions that are causing the coup. So if we talk to them, if we approach them, and as much as possible, Paul Biya, I don't know why, in Equatorial Guinea, and other people of their caliber, they should be approached by AU. They should be approached by the respective bodies that are regional and told that, hey, Mr. Man, follow what your people on ground are saying, and not people who are propping you in power because of their selfish interest. Follow what the people on the streets are saying. Honor elections. Honor the cause for you to transmit power, so that at least there will be peace and there will be good governance. Because one of the hallmarks of democracy is regular change in government.
All right. Olumbe, quickly, do you think the AU should adopt the use of sanctions to actually checkmate this problem? Obviously, aren't there other ways to address this other than inflicting more hardship on the country and the people?
Well, unfortunately, you know that the ultimate unfortunate position would be, as people were banding around, I think earlier on during when the Niger crisis started. I don't think so. I strongly believe that it's a carrot and a stick approach that should be taken, because they do need to show a sense of seriousness in terms of the African Union and its members. So therefore, it must be a combination of both methods, which is diplomacy, which is, of course, we continue to speak, you continue to talk to them. And on the other hand, the sanctions to show that there's some level of seriousness. Unfortunately, the hardship coming from sanctions will affect the masses, which make up the larger population of the society. But unfortunately, in this case, or in these cases, it's rather unfortunate that that's going to be the situation. But those are the options that are on the table, and those are the options that I strongly believe, because I'm of the opinion that the worst democracy is better than any military government. I mean, I've lived through both military and civilian governments, especially in Nigeria, and I can tell you that the difference is absolutely clear. So we need to understand that these situations are unacceptable, as the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said, and we must continue to work with all concerned parties, to ensure that, and especially at a time where it's beginning to have a sort of snowball effect and a copycat kind of approach. I mean, there is a global economic slowdown. So, of course, things are hard, and things are perhaps harder in some countries, without necessarily blaming maybe the leadership of the countries. But the reality is, to answer your question, we do have no choice but to employ the carrot and stick approach, as I said earlier, which includes using sanctions as well as diplomatic interventions and discussion.
All right, Olube, very quickly now, in as much as we understand that we have to, approach this issue with, imposing the sanctions, are you sure we're not stylishly encouraging these African leaders in their attitude of holding on to power and meting out wickedness to the people? Obviously, these countries are blessed. They have resources, they have everything, but somehow they are not delivering, but they still want to hold on to power. Now, if we keep talking about sanctions, imposing these punishments, are we not stylishly encouraging them to continue to hold on to power, not doing what they're supposed to do?
I don't think so, because you see, in diplomacy, I'm not a diplomat, but to the best of my knowledge, what are the options that are available? It's either kinetic, which involves use of military. We saw how that, even the mere suggestion of that, you saw the uproar all over Africa, and especially in Nigeria, right? Now, you have the option also of diplomatic discussions. The reality on ground, however, is that a lot of these guys, the military guys, do not actually believe or will take people seriously, which was shown in the Niger example, will take the other countries seriously if there was not some sort of sanction. Again, it's unfortunate that the masses will be the ones to bear the brunt of it, but something must be done. And it just cannot be mere talk, because unfortunately that has been, in the Niger example, that was the first recourse, was to send in a delegation to speak to them before they were even given the opportunity to have a meeting with the rulers, the current rulers of the country. It took them a while before they would listen to anyone. So in that situation, what exactly do you do? And of course, there must be some level of sensitization of the masses, because again, you see these things happen where, when there's a coup and you see the populace, jubilating, forgetting where they were before, before democracy, because they've forgotten, right, due to bad leadership and such things. But there must be a continuous sensitization of the masses. There must be a peer review mechanism amongst the leaders of African countries. Those are the things that I believe can actually help in tempering down this sit-tight mentality of a lot of the African rulers.
Thank you very much. Now, Justice Ujeno, you heard him. Let's be frank. In as much as we understand that we have to do what we have to do to cut down on all this coup flying here and there, aren't we stylishly encouraging these men to hold on to power when it's obviously they're not doing anything at all? Because the people, you see the jubilation when this coup take over. You can tell the people feel like, look, this shackle is off my neck. This man is finally off the throne. There's some sense of jubilation on the street just because of how they have been treated by the president who has held on to power for so long. How do we, tackle this?
Of course, one of the very things that will make the people very happy is because there's going to be a change in government. Because if a person is in government and doesn't seem to be challenged or has mastered the art of thwarting any further change, or mastered election manipulation, mastered intimidation of the legislature and the judiciary, then they just feel that nothing can remove them from the government. They have the African king mentality that nothing can shake them. So being mediocre is no longer an issue. So all that is left for them is to now be pleasing external factors, for example, colonial powers or the Western powers that can actually now challenge them because they have conquered the inside. So they will just give the colonial people a pass to be able to exploit, and as long as they don't disturb them. So that's why, as much as possible, the unions, African Union and all, they should talk through to these powers to ensure that at least the shackle is removed from the necks of the populace.
Thank you so much. Now, of course,